big time for daily meditation. Now, if you've never done meditation before, you might think, oh, is that when I sit in a funky posture and do some kind of chanting? Well, it could be. There's lots of meditations. But if you've never done one before, what I'm going to do is walk you through a very simple starter meditation so that you can get a feel for what it's all about and how you can sort of strengthen yourself, strengthen your will, strengthen your focus, so that you can move on and do some more advanced meditations. So here's how it works. It's a breathing meditation. It's a 10-breath breathing meditation. And what you do is you focus on getting to 10 breaths without thinking of anything else. And so you're going to go to 1, 2, 3, all the way through 10 breaths without thinking of anything else. And when you start, you're going to give yourself the command that this is what you're going to do. This is the exercise. This is my intention, to get to 10 breaths without thinking of anything else. And now, if you are your body and your brain, as you may have imagined yourself to be, then when you give a strict order like this, it should automatically obey, right? So when you get into that meditation, you say, this is my intention, 10 breaths without thinking of anything else, and you really assert that, and you sit down and you start to go into that meditation. You breathe in, you breathe out, you're focusing on the breath. If it starts to wander, well, the first thing you discover is there's a division of forces within you. There's that force of intention, and then there's this force that sort of runs on autopilot. And that's a very important discovery if that's your first time in discovering it. Imagine that. You've commanded yourself. You've given yourself a direct order, and then it went off. The other part of you, yourself, whatever you might want to call it, went off on autopilot, went off on a pattern or a habit track of thought, worries, and concerns that it normally runs on 98% of the time. So now you're becoming aware of this division of forces, and now the battle begins, because your goal is to get to 10 breaths without thinking of anything else, and your sort of automatic goal of your brain is going to be to run on these same tracks that it runs on all the time. And the first priority of that is going to be to consider all worries and concerns, because that's what the brain does. It ensures your survival above all else. And so all the worries and concerns that it thinks about on a day-to-day basis are going to surface while you're doing this meditation, which is why it's very important in the beginning to have a notebook beside you, so that every time you get distracted and you remember that you're doing the breathing meditation, you can pull out that notebook and wrote down, I was worried about this, I was concerned about that. Because what you're doing is you're making a statement to your brain, this is important. I realize you're trying to help me. I'm not battling you to the death. I'm just writing these worries and concerns down so that we can forget about them for now and move on and carry out this meditation. It's a very synergistic relationship. We're not trying to kill anything, but we are going to battle to take control. So now you're going to be able to measure your progress too. You'll get to 3 or 4 breaths and start to think of something else, and then you write down that worry or concern, and then you start the meditation again until you get to 10 full breaths. You don't stop. And what you'll notice is that you'll actually start to get a little frustrated. You get to 4, 5, 6, you have to start over. 7, 8, 9, you have to start over, you get to 10. So you'll only get to 10 though when you do get really frustrated and you really convince and commit yourself to getting to those 10 full breaths. Prepare to spend some time the first go around. If you don't have a lot of time to do it on the first time, at least notice how much time it took, how much time you allocated, and to what breath number that you got to, and then try again, work at it. You know, this intention, willpower, force is a muscle that you have to develop. And if you've been complacent in developing it, then there is an extreme level of laziness that you might have right now. And that's just how it is. When the brain runs on autopilot and you sort of subordinate yourself to this autopilot mechanism, you are naturally lazy. That's what laziness is. It's the neglect of exerting willpower to take control of this other self. You've already noticed there's 2 forces. Now it's time to build this one up, the willpower muscle, so that you can acquire this trait of discipline, which automatically happens through enough time of exerting willpower. You just automatically become disciplined because willpower is exerted day after day after day. And there's other exercises that we'll talk about for you to strengthen willpower. But this is a great start. So what are you going to do? You got your 10 breath meditation. You're going to sit down. You don't have to do anything funky. Just sit down straight. Promise yourself, commit to yourself that you're going to get to 10 breaths without thinking of anything else. When your mind starts going off, and especially in the beginning when it's your first time, it may get a little frustrating because your brain has been running so fast for so long that it's not going to give up control that easy. So you can imagine, I mean, insomniacs, why they can't sleep. You can imagine a person who commits to doing something, that's their little intention muscle, this is what I'm going to do, versus their brain that just runs on a track again and goes back into old behaviors, old patterns, old addictions, old habits. So that little voice needs to be strengthened, and this one needs to be reduced. And so in the beginning, that is going to be a very obvious struggle. Don't give up. Commit even more. Exert even more effort until you can get to the 10 breaths. Because when you do, that strength that you have in your willpower at that point is going to begin to lay the foundation for many other forms of meditation that require an advanced degree of focus. But even more so in your regular everyday life, you're going to notice that when you commit to doing something, you do it. When you intend to do something, you do it. And you'll notice that this other self that used to take control will begin to subordinate itself to you, your will, and your intention. And that's who you truly are. And if you really intend to design and live your full potential, it's going to absolutely require that you have this force, you in all its glory, taking control over this other force, which is your tool. That's the ego identity, the ego personality. That's your tool. You still need it, you don't want to kill it, but you want to take control over it. And you are that power. Your choice, your will, it's up to you. Take time out every day to do this meditation until you reach those 10 breaths. Good luck. For more tips on how to live your full potential, visit fullpotential.com.